Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Well, every day I say good morning, but naturally that could be a good evening. It could be a good afternoon. It could be a good evening. It almost could be a good night. You might be middle of the night, wherever you are in the world, on the other side of the globe, looking and beaming into us, all tucked up in bed with your laptop on your lap, and everybody else is sleeping in the home, but you're beaming into us, really absorbing what we have today on our fourth day of HR Week 2022. As you'll know, every single day of HR Week 2022 is dedicated to a specific theme. Today, what is it? What is it? You know what it is. That's right. It's HR development, really jumping into everything to do with performance consulting, business coaching practices, career paths, our own career paths. I mean, you'll know a lot of HR is all about helping others to develop, but what about you? What about your career path? And what about where you need to be and where you're moving to? All of this and pretty much everything in between will be delving into throughout today. And again, if you've enjoyed yesterday and the other 2 days of the week so far, you're going to enjoy today. I'm pretty sure of it as well. Again, let us know where you are. We would love to know what part of the world, whether it's down the road in Belgrade, whether it's another part of Serbia, whether it's way across onto another continent of the world. I know we've already had people from Sydney beaming in, India, South America, South Africa, in fact, as well. So let us know and give us a little bit of an idea of what you think of HR Week so far. Right, we move on to firstly our very first session of today's day. This is all about the word curiosity, a word which plays so much within the HR world, naturally, getting people to think, feel, understand, be aware of really what's going on around them, and having that curiosity takes us forward, right? Takes us forward even further, develops us and makes us feel curious to kind of understand what could be, right? Here, the first step to developing inspiring, disruptive, and inclusive leaders, again, that word, curiosity. I'm intrigued as much as you are really to hear what this is all about and what we can absorb from this session right now. So please welcome to our virtual stage this morning, Global Head of Integrated Leadership Development from Nestlé, Adeline Looi. Adeline.
Hi, good morning. And like Peter says, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are dialing in from.
Right. Where are you right now, Adeline? I'd love to
I'm
know.
close to Geneva. I'm based in Switzerland. So same time zone as you, I think, right?
Fantastic. It is the same time zone. And it looks like on your left-hand side, a bright sun. Is it a sunny day? Well, the lights come. Well, it doesn't matter. The light's coming through, and it looks like it's a nice bright day. Listen, Adeline, I'm going to leave it up to you now. Towards the end, if we have some questions coming through from our listeners, our audience, I'll pop back in and I can have an exchange with you in terms of the questions. How does that sound?
Would love that. So let's do just that. Thanks so much, Peter, for the introduction. And really, indeed, curiosity is super important and super excited to be with all of you today. I hope and I think you can all see my slides now. A quick introduction about me, so that I can be super fast and we can spend more time on the real topic. I love it that Peter was talking about questions at the end. This is so important in our life as HR professionals, as business professionals, that we continue to keep growing, we continue to keep developing. And to me, curiosity is a key anchor and a key part of it. So you see right at the bottom, when was the last time? When last did you ask a stupid question? I just want to let you know that there's no stupid question. Feel free to ask those questions, and this is your time, our time together. And I hope that we will be able to not just have it as a session of soaking in, even though that's great, but it's a session of engagement so that you can ask what's important to you. And like what Peter was saying, I'll be so happy to address that at the end. So, quick introduction. Adeline Looi. I head up integrated leadership development in Nestle within our global talent organization. And that looks into what we call assessments, all ways that we can find assessing for development, for pipelining, so that we can get individual insights, group insights, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Two, triggering challenge in learning by learning experiences, resources, pathways that is individualized based on the assessment outcome, to also then supplementing that with the right support that comes from coaching and mentoring. So that's what we call integrated leadership development. And it's integrated also because it's not on its own, it's driving results for the business and for the person. So that's why there's that impact element. So, quick introduction from me. I'm super excited to be part of this really fantastic list of people today, and also part of your week. I've been following with much anticipation. It looks like such an exciting season for all of you, with multiple thought leaders, but also sharings from panels. And today it's such a divine moment that we get to talk about development, and not just about development of the workforce as a whole, which is extremely important, but also our own development. And that's why the whole topic of curiosity becomes so key. And in Nestle, we see that as our North Star, as what's anchoring all other areas of leadership development. Uh, a bit about me, you probably go like, hey, is she really Swiss? She doesn't look Swiss. I'm not Swiss. I'm just based in Switzerland, have been for the last 5.5 years. Born in Malaysia, super happy and proud of it. It's a tropical country in Southeast Asia. Family lived there in Singapore. That side of the family are from the States, but I'm happily now in between two continents in Europe. And for the colleagues who are dialing in from East Europe, Central Europe, you'll know that am a super fan of your region. And when I first moved to Europe, one of the key work that I was had the privilege of partnering is the transformation, end-to-end business transformation and HR in the areas of. I was actually in Belgrade, a beautiful place, and with a lot of you from Serbia, from Croatia, amongst others. So, love your region, and such a privilege for me to be able to come to this platform to share this moment with you. So, when we talk about what it means in line with inspiring, disruptive, and inclusive leadership, I wanted to anchor what this is, sharing a bit in Nestle globally. So I support the growth of 30,000 people leaders all around the world, as well as our 265,000 full-time employees of every region in every country. So far, I think the only country we are not present in is North Korea, for very obvious reasons. So in as part of supporting and helping leaders grow, not just leaders at the top, but leaders at every phase of the journey, we recognize how important it is because curiosity needs to be our key underpin, where if you take a look at what we are trying to develop for the future, it's really about a future ready workforce, and it's about lifelong learning, where we keep growing and keep learning and keep developing. And hence Peter's opening was so spot on. We sometimes do this for everyone, but what about for ourselves? And the other thing is, in order to do it for everyone, one of our greatest enablers that we partner with within an organization is the leaders population. Research shows that employee experience is determined very much by manager experience. So, in other words, the biggest predictor of how employees grow, it's not just a process that we put in place. It's not just a guideline that you have, but it's about how we empower and build leaders so that they are able to help their teams grow. So it's about leaders who inspire and develop their people, to help them take the risks, to have that can-do spirit, to try and to build that diversity and agility. And in order for that to work, then the fabric of agility has to be within the culture. So if you see, curiosity is clearly a red thread. And therefore, I want to move to this. Some of us are familiar with this quote by Alvin Toffler. He's one of the well-known futurists, and his quote says this: "The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn." And life is really about curiosity. It's about learning and then unlearning, because tomorrow's context is different from today, and then relearning. And I know that the very fact that you're tuning in for today about development is that you're super excited and you engage with this. And this is something which is a philosophy within Nestle that we hold true to, because that's our North Star. We say that in Nestle, we look at leadership development at multiple angles, starting with ourselves, being curious about myself, the piece about what are my strengths, and make time in our busy schedules for self-reflection to go like, what are the areas I need to work on? What's important to me so that I can angle myself? Then being curious about my team. If we are not curious about our team, we won't be able to see what's important to them, recognizing the diversity that's in them and seeing that as a strength, and then creating a psychologically safe space so that they can bring the best of them into work and not have a broad divide between who they are outside work and who they are at work. Only then, with multiple teams, and teams are all sorts of intact teams. We know in the future of work that is today, it's no longer just a hierarchy of teams. It's fluid teams, it's virtual teams, it's hybrid teams. These align together to drive towards what's important within an organization. And in Nestle, we always talk about, even though we are big, we don't harp on the bigness. We talk about being, if we are big, then let's use that as a force for good. We'd rather keep ourselves humble to be curious, so that we can be curious also about what the consumer needs, what the business needs. And this is so important for us in HR. Sometimes we're so passionate with what we're doing, and then there's a disjoint sometimes, so that we need to continue to make sure that we build leaders who are curious about the organization, so that we are able to do it end to end and help the business grow, and not just rest there, but so that it can be so that we continue to be curious about the ecosystem. Can be environment, can be social, and can be beyond. It's about focusing externally and connecting the dots to a broader context. And for us, we talk about curiosity. This is really the first step. If we want to be building leaders who are inclusive, disruptive, and inspiring, we need to first be curious, because we need this virtuous circle. And once we talk about the ecosystem, we come back to being curious about myself again. What else am I learning about me? What do I need to unlearn, relearn, and also move forward, learn together? So I wanted to share with the team today. We spoke about true impact a little already. Today's session, with the rest of it, I wanted to focus on personalization. And it's really all about personalization at the core, because in today's environment, all of us and all of our people, they are so busy trying to deliver. And in this changing context where we've got limited cognitive budget, if you understand that, right? Think of it this morning. Even now, as you're following this session, I bet you some of you are having your breakfast, you're having your coffee, you're checking your phones. No, you're not. Maybe even doing some emails on the side or planning your to-do list. The average attention span has moved from 12 seconds to closer to 9. People are saying that human beings today, with the use of technology, and yesterday you had digital, have about the attention span of a goldfish. That's crazy, isn't it? So, in order for development to work, we need to make sure that there is relevance. What's in it for me? There's got to be hyper personalization at the core. And I wanted to share with you two of the things that we're doing in Nestle. Hopefully, that inspires you, and it inspires you to ask questions. But more than that, I hope that it encourages you to know that we are all learning, unlearning, and relearning together. So one of the key is things that we're doing at an individual level, let me share with you, is targeting transitioning people leaders. So we've developed something in Nestle that's called the First Time People Leader Development Center. And it was recently in 2022 called out by Forbes magazine as one of the key highlights where personalization of learning journeys was able to help people grow to be successful. Let me give you a little bit of an insight on why we focus on this. We realize that when people transition from individual contributors to people managers and people leaders, that's one of the most challenging moves that they have to make, because what made them successful in the past? To be efficient at their work, to be good in delivery, to be managing deadlines and timelines, suddenly become less important than what they need to do now as leaders, which is about creating a safe space, psychological safety, trust, and very importantly, it's they need to now focus on how do I now empower my team, how do I set clear goals but also inspire them, how do I make sure that they're motivated to deliver their best, and this is one of those that's come up a lot. And we wanted to make sure that there's this piece where when people are transitioning, they could go through this simulation. So these simulations are a day in the life, and they are mixed between in life, psychometrics, whatnot. And these simulations bring out personalized insights to the person because it's immersive learning. We spoke about learning experiences. They are supported by coaches who give the feedback and help them with their development plans. But the assessment is what's bringing out that insight on what are my strengths and how do I lead better and leverage on this. And this was called out by Forbes. You can access the link in Forbes and find out more about it. And it's about combining empathy and trust. And this is one of it that we do at individual level. I think some of the questions that's come from you, I think from Esther, she talked about curiosity and the best of human and the best of technology. How do we combine it to provide the best development offerings to our leaders? What you see here is really very much about curiosity about self, curiosity about others, and the best of humanity. About human touch. But let me now go through a bit about technology as well. At the team level, we have this, we've been, of course, we spoke about psychometrics. One of the key things that we've piloted with this year in Nestle is the use of technology and AI, where we are not just talking about individuals, helping individuals grow and leverage their strengths, but we're helping teams grow by leveraging the curiosity of the team and strengths. You see some of the tools here. Since your question is on AI, I'm happy to talk a little bit about it. This is about intact team development, where we talk about driving an environment for teams to be able to understand the differences in each other, where we are, and so that there's a continued sense and pulse. And this is the partner we're working with, Valence. They're a startup in the US. In fact, they were just here in November. And it's a lot about creating a depth of dialogue. And the AI is the team coach is supported by the AI, and the team coach doesn't just need to be an HR person. It is the people leader. So it's the people leader leveraging the AI to coach the team. And this is helping us drive scale. Um, that's the second part on team and self. And of course, broader, you see that not just I didn't manage to talk about organization and ecosystem only because we've got limited time, but I'm happy to also share more if that's part of your questions. Insights that we get from individual and team level are helping us drive key strategic thrusts about where we want to develop our leaders and our workforce from a global perspective using digital tools, but also making sure it's hyper personalized, so that's always that human touch, and how we're driving that kind of impact together within the community and within the ecosystem. So I hope that offers answers part of the question, and I'm mindful of the time. I think we're right on the dot. I look back to Peter to see if we have more time or if we have more questions. I'm here to help answer that.
Now, Wonderful. Listen, Adeline, you're absolutely right. Spot on time. Spot on time. And I really, listening to you again, I really love the idea of the curiosity, really across the board, starting from yourself and then to the team, to the organization, and then the broader, wider view of the whole ecosystem, whether that's the physical one or the social one as well. So certainly lots of food for thought. And again, those of you that have been listening to Adeline, again, you're curious, you'd like to know more, certainly link up. I'm sure she'll be happy to accept all your connections as well. And then again, as I say, take those conversations forward and see where they unfold. But for the meantime, listen, thank you so much, Adeline. It's been inspiring and a great way to kick off our first session of HR Development
Brilliant.
Day. But most of
Brilliant.
all, thank you so much for your time.
It's a pleasure. And if I may end with one thing, Peter and team, let's do one thing today that scares us. So let's keep ourselves curious. So all the best
Absolutely.
and see you all. Bye.
Goodbye.